Winter has come, and he hasn't phoned me since. Hello there everyone, and welcome to John Drinks, the channel in which I, John, have a drink, and today we're having a shameless cash-in. This is the Johnnie Walker Game of Thrones whiskey that everyone's on about. It's called White Walker by Johnnie Walker, a blended Scotch whiskey, a limited edition Game of Thrones. Yeah, so this one kind of took me off guard a little bit, a Game of Thrones whiskey. I'm a little bit surprised that they've done it now that the series is ending, rather than 4 series ago when everyone was going utterly mental about it. To be fair, everyone's still going utterly mental about it, but you get my point. They could have probably cashed in a bit sooner. But anyway, we're not here for that. We're here to see what this whiskey is like. We've not done a Johnnie Walker on this channel before. We're going to be covering a few different bits and pieces, including some of the more unusual aspects of this whiskey, which, as you can probably tell from the label and the fact that there is ice everywhere, this is going to be served quite cold. So this whiskey has more of a story behind it than, frankly, I was expecting. So it was created by a fella called George Harper, and the unusual thing about this is it is served from the freezer, which I don't think bodes very well for this whiskey, and I'll get into why that is a little bit later on in the video. For the time being, we're going to have a little look at the design work first, because it is quite striking. Well, it's a bit different, isn't it? So firstly, we're going to look into the design of this bottle. So it's the standard square bottle designed by Alex Walker, who was the son of the famous John Walker, of which the brand is named after. And he designed the bottle first in 1860 for a number of reasons, but the main one being they tessellate quite well when they're being transported. He was a canny businessman, and he was very keen on making this an international brand, and he succeeded. Johnnie Walker is in every country in the world, which is terrifying if you think about it. So the bottle is wrapped in this ice effect wrap, and it's even got the striding man becoming the Night King there. And the main selling point of this one is this. This is actually thermochromatic ink, so this message will only appear when the bottle is chilled. It's supposed to be served out of the freezer, so this is the little treat to make sure that it gets served properly. If you want to actually see the reveal of the secret message in action, there will be a clip of it appearing at the end of this video. There's a lot of marketing about the ice surprise side of this. If you're marketing it that heavy, is it really a surprise? The kind of thing that you see sometime on, I think Coors Light bottles do it, the mountains turning blue when it's the right temperature, that kind of, it's the same basic element. It's maybe not the best crowd to actually lump yourself in with if you're going for high quality, but I mean, hey-ho, what the hell. Its main malts in here are from barrels of Cardew and Clynelish, which is one of Scotland's most northern distilleries, so keeping with the theme of the frozen north. Now, the fellow behind this whiskey, George Harper, there's actually a quote online of him talking about the inspiration behind this. Whiskies from Clynelish have endured long Scottish winters, not dissimilar to the long periods endured by Night's Watch, who have ventured north of the wall. So it was the perfect place to start when creating this unique whiskey. What a lovely story. Now, if this lone bottle wasn't corporate vanity enough, this is actually the start of an 8 single malt whiskey drive by Diageo, the aim being to really ram their dicks up the Game of Thrones fans' willing arseholes. Also, full disclosure, I've never watched Game of Thrones. Moving on. Freeze for an unexpected icy reveal. As previously mentioned, we all knew it was happening. Sort of like the Red Wedding. Like, seriously, it was called the Red fucking Wedding. I've never watched it, and even I knew that everyone was going to die. It was called the Red Goddamn Wedding. What did you think everything was going to happen? The entire bridal party were going to have synchronized periods or something? It's the Red Wedding. Once forgotten and reduced to ancient legend, White Walkers have emerged from the frozen north, bringing with them the... What the fuck does that say? It's hard to read this because there's all these squiggles about the place. Having emerged from the frozen north, bringing with them the chill of winter and the promise of terror and destruction. Well, this is cheery. To all who stand in their path. With their tall blades of ice capable of slicing through iron, and yeah, that's how ice works, and their silent icy blue gaze, they are a chilling sight. I'm guessing they're quite cold. When you see the undead coming, you know winter is here. Oh, they're dead. Well, that's lovely. Do you know, maybe actually this is a reference to the old white label then being brought back from the dead. I doubt it, but that would be quite cute, I suppose. White Walker by Johnnie Walker is blended Scotch whisky inspired by these chill-inducing walkers. At the heart of the blend are single malts from... Yeah, we've gone through that. Yep, it's basically just repeating what I just said. This whiskey is chill filtered to 1.5 degrees and best served cold directly from the freezer, featuring notes of caramelized sugar and vanilla, fresh red berries with a touch of orchid fruit, so a bit of everything. This whiskey develops in complexity as it warms to room temperature. Yeah, we're going to go over that quickly. So, bit of science here, guys. So we're going to quickly talk about the effect of chilling a drink. So when you chill an alcoholic liquid, it becomes a little bit less viscous and more pleasant on the palate. Now, lower temperatures suppress the vapor pressure, which is the rate in which alcohol releases its vapor, meaning the alcohol burn is much less pronounced. It's usually a trick to hide harsh notes from cheaper or grain-heavy alcohols. So, yeah, it doesn't bode too well for this, but I will reserve judgment. So, you'll probably notice I have two very different glasses here, and it's not just because I don't have two of the same glass, although that is a very valid reason, but there is some logic to it. This first one, which I've poured already, is the room temperature one, and this one, which has been in the freezer, and this, which has been in the freezer, is going to be our chilled example, so we can compare and contrast how they are from start to finish. I'm going to go with the chilled one first, because I would imagine that one's going to be a lot blander, to be honest, and I expect that one to be much harsher. So if I go with that one first, I'm probably going to blow myself up a bit. Oh god, that's cold. I don't know what I was expecting. Hashtag red wedding. So, it's a pale straw gold kind of a colour. This should be intriguing. Alright, cool. I'm going to shove this up my nose. I'm not expecting a great deal because, as previously mentioned, there's not going to be much vapour getting released off this because it's obviously been chilled. Oh, that having been said, heavy amounts of vanilla. Like, seriously, loads of vanilla, and a bit of caramel in there as too. Sort of, if you're like making caramel, that kind of burnt sugar aroma that you get. Very pleasant, almost kind of like a vanilla ice cream kind of a thing. That might just be the cold coming off of it giving me sort of a reminiscence of ice cream. Maybe I just want ice cream, I don't know. Alright, cool, so I think I've nosed that for long enough. Let's actually get this into my mouth. Ooh, very velvet. Oh my. Oh, okay. Very velvety mouthfeel. Sort of a creme brulee mixed with burnt sugar kind of an influence on that. A lot of burn on that. Woo. Yeah, as it's warming up in my mouth, a lot of an alcohol burn in that. I suspect there's a fair bit of grain whiskey in this. That having been said, it's a very pleasant, fairly sweet whiskey. Has to be said, it's a fairly sweet whiskey, as whiskies go. A little bit of a fruit twang on that, maybe like sort of like a raspberry or something, but yeah, it's vanilla sweetness front and centre with that one. It's not unpleasant at all. There is a fair bit of a burn on the back note of that, particularly for a chilled whiskey, which does make me fear the warmer one a little bit. It's not unpleasant. It's not unpleasant at all. It tastes a little cheap, to be honest, but it's certainly not bad. Yeah, no, the initial mouthfeel's lovely, very viscous, creamy. It's just that whack of alcohol at the end, man. I mean, obviously it's whiskey, but it's not even particularly strong. It's a 41.7, so you really shouldn't be getting that sort of heavy vapor effect, particularly not from one that's been in the freezer. We've tried the chilled one. I think it's time for this. Yeah, see what this one's going to be like. I'm expecting a much heavier alcohol whack off of this one. Oh, no. Yeah, automatically the aroma on that one is, it's varnish, pretty much. That's not a good sign at all. Okay, right. Man up, John. Oh. That's bizarre. That's actually much more mellow, closer to room temperature than it is out of the freezer, which is the opposite from what you would normally expect. That's much nicer, close to room temperature. It's still a little bit chilled because it's been next to the bottle, but yeah. That ain't half bad, lads. What is utterly bizarre about that one as well, it almost tastes like a different whiskey. I'm still getting a little bit of the vanilla hint, but it's a hint, whereas this was a whack in the face. It's almost as if it's become more potent in the fruit. That's strange. It's much milder when it's had a chance to actually heat up. Do you know what, actually, there's more vanilla on the after with this one, whereas with this one it was just kind of booze. It's difficult to tell which one I prefer, though. This is easily much smoother to drink overall. This one has more flavour. That's absolutely bonkers. Wow. I never thought I'd find such a grotesque difference between what is essentially the same liquid, just with different temperatures. That's really quite remarkable. I might have to start doing this with more stuff. Is it a good whiskey? Yeah, it's fine. It's perfectly good. You know, it's not one that you'd be embarrassed to crack out if you were watching a few episodes, say, for example, which I think is perhaps the intention with this one. It's mainly meant for kind of like viewing parties and stuff like that, isn't it? Or maybe to stock in a club and charge way too much for. That was a whiskey. Yeah, I don't hate this at all. How many dragons out of 5 would I give this? Do you know what? I'd give it a solid 3. It's a solid 3. I think there are better blended whiskies out there. In fact, we've tried better on this channel. Copper Dog, there'll be a thing coming up there. That was a beautiful Speyside. But yeah, as a blended whiskey goes, it ain't half bad. The disparity between the two temperatures, quite unusual, but I do like the flavour overall. It's on the sweeter side. I do like my things like my Sauternes cask finishers and my Nectar d'Ors and that kind of a side of a whiskey. So, yeah, I'm alright with this. I'm glad I bought it. I'm definitely going to buy another one. Not because I want the whiskey, because it's going to be worth a fucking fortune in 5 years' time.